Yeah. Okay, I'm making a quick recording of just showcasing what I have so far for my TNL damage calculator. Basically, um, here is combat math. This is all the different variables of stuff that you generally see in Questlog. I have it set up for the attacker stats, and then once you find the orange pin here, it's just defender stats after that. All these lines is just going into these, which is it immediately checks if it's a healing skill first. If it is, it'll send it up to the healing math. This is not done yet, this is still a work in progress. But it'll do an evasion check, it'll then do crit check and glancing hit check, and then it'll calculate the base damage to then calculate heavy attack damage. It'll then do a heavy attack check, so it'll calculate the damage multiplier of heavy attacks and then do a check to just apply it or not, similar to crit damage. Then it'll calculate the other modifiers like skill damage boost, bonus damage, shield block chance, and offhand attack chance. It does not apply these, it just calculates if these get rolled or not. Then it'll calculate and actually add the heavy attack chance and get the final damage output basically before what's it called, mitigations get taken into a place. And then here it'll actually apply all the different damage mitigations and final outputs of the damage number, which is this variable here, and then it'll output all of these. Now why these are sort of important to be here with these booleans, which is the red one, which is just a true false. If it's a crit, a heavy, did you evade it, glancing, shield block, offhand, healing skill, whatever, this is for damage numbers. So if it's a critical hit in Throne and Liberty, the damage number looks different. If it's a heavy attack, it'll have the ×2 at the end. If it's evaded, it'll say evaded. Glancing hit is like a slightly transparent white number, right? Shield block has the blue shield icon around it. This is strictly for damage number outputs. Final healing I have because it'll be a different number than actual final damage there because it's different calculations. You're wondering what these actually look like. On the inside, it's just a bunch of math. One of the more egregious ones is one of these, and then it's like what this one. Yeah. This calculates min and max damage, and most of these are just like that. Crit and glancing, it rolls through, it takes the attacker's crit chance, subtracts it from defender's endurance, which this gets you the X value, which is just crit endurance difference. It'll then check if X equals 0. If it does, it just skips all the math to save frame rates. If it's greater than 0, meaning the attacker actually has a chance to crit, then it'll do crit chance math. This random float in range, so this gets your actual crit chance as a decimal between 1 and 0. And then this, it just checks if it's greater than a random number in here. So basically, if you say have a 50% chance to crit, this will roll a number between 0 and 1. If your 0.5 is greater, so if it rolls 0. or equal to, so if it rolls 0.5 or less, it'll say that you did crit. If it rolls higher, it'll say you did not crit. Basically, imagine rolling for loot for gear is your roll the highest number. If not, you didn't win it. And then if your crit chance is lower than the enemy's endurance, as it probably is for a lot of people, if you're trying to kill a tank, for example, it'll check, hey, what is the chance for them for their endurance to make you glancing hit? That's what that does. And then all of that eventually turns out to this stuff there. Right now, I don't have damage numbers. I just have a print screen in the top left corner. Right now, I just have a simple line trace. You shoot, just a line trace. It shows you where it goes. The little red square at the end shows the hit point. Whenever you shoot, it drains mana. Mana regens. Your health also regens, as you can see with the little test button there. These are target dummies. Right now it's at 100 HP. You can change it to whatever you want, but if you shoot it, you can see the blue number in the top left is how much damage you did. As you can see, it changes based off the random rolls for min and max damage. And then once it dies, it'll say death, and then it'll heal itself back up to full, just like an actual training dummy. Doop, 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 and then doop, doop, doop. They're all separate. And then these are my testable enemies so far. Their HP does scale with a level I have set, because I plan on turning this Thorn Liberty damage calculator into an actual game project further down the line. So you shoot them, they actually have health regen and actual stats, and then if they die, they ragdoll, do a little death thing, and then disappear. So if you do shoot and kill them though, they lose all collision, so you don't have to worry about them body blocking you. And then for this guy, as you can see, the green line means the bullet stopped on them, and it stops. But if you shoot and kill and then try and shoot through him, it no longer has collision. So the bodies don't block your movement, and they also don't block future attacks. That's what I have so far. There's a lot more in this stuff than what's currently in here. But for the current player character, this is for attacking and shooting. This is just, I would need to do another branch here to just do a quick check. Hey, of this AC stats of the hit actor, I would just check, or is this attack a healing skill? If it is, just do a branch right here. Check, otherwise doesn't do anything. Right now it's just hard-coded for the mana because I don't have full ability system set up yet. Like if you wanted damage over time on the circle, on the ground, like a Fountain of Life kind of thing. Basic just default movement inputs here. Begin play, this just links up the HUD and everything. This is my test button for health regen that I showed earlier. And then this just refreshes the player's HUD. So whenever the, say, test button here, you see the health regen, that is not running on tick. That only goes off whenever your stats actually change, like the health regen I have set up in the AC stats over here. That's here, health regeneration, which I have this set up with a set timer by event. It refreshes every 0.1 of a second, so it's 10 times a second instead of every frame, which is event tick, so this is much more efficient. Basic math, so basically if you're regenerating, say, 100, it'll go by in ticks of 10 instead of 1, and then you just get a blurry number, but yeah. Well, that's what I have so far for this. All the math so far, by the way, is Thorn Liberty damage. You can just click on these guys, for example, I believe that's enemy base. So you can just click on enemy base, click on stats, stats drop down, and then we can just change these things. So if we say set their level, I think it's over here, yeah. So if we set their level, currently it's 20. If we set it to say 200, because of my current math for update stats on level is by like 0.1 or something, it's like a 10% buff. So now if we hit play, they have 2,100 HP functional instead of the original bit they had, which is like, what, 300? Now if we do click on this though, we could just change their defense or anything else and you'd see it actually change. So if we change defense to say 1,000, that'll add some damage mitigation, and you'll see our numbers in the top left noticeably went down. But yeah, that's what I have so far. If you want a copy of this, I could make a build so you could fiddle around with it. My current future plans with this, though, is to actually add a pause menu, so you can just hit pause and then just change the actual values of the enemies, and then basically spawn one in front of you, or just change the values of a test dummy, most likely is what I'll do. These are mostly just for sake of testing and ease, but these I would make it so you can change the value of the target dummies. I'd probably have 3 that you could change in different clusters. I'd probably have them changed by color. So like a green one, a yellow one, and a red one. And then in the UI, you could change like green target dummy stats, yellow target dummy stats, red target dummy stats, and each of them would have different stats. That way, if you wanted to test, say, an AoE spell attacking a DPS that's like an evasion build, an endurance build, and then like say an SNS just pure tank build, you could see your damage numbers in real time. The whole point of this, by the way, if you're curious, and so just testing it in game, is because Questlog, yes, it's much easier to test when you actually have the items, right? So like in Questlog, you can theory craft literally all you want, like my personal healer builds here with this stuff, right? I can look at all of these stats on the side and be like, wow, those look really good, but how much magic heavy attack do you actually need in game before you actually stop dying? Except for like one person who on the server who has like 2400 heavy attack chance, right? Like an Enigma or whatever. So this would let you actually test to see breakpoints of where your builds actually start to fall off for tanks, for DPS, where your damage actually reaches a point where you cannot kill a tank. This would simply make it so you could test those numbers. You would just look at your quest log, get the stats you'd want to test for, set it as the dummies. For example, I could set the dummies or these guys, I could set them to have all of these stats, and then I could set my character, the player character here, because all the stats are different. So if I change the stats on the player character, it's different than enemy base or zombie or the test dummy or whatever, right? So you could change the test dummies to have, say, the tank stats that you want to try and kill, or an evasion class player that you're trying to kill with a hit build, and then you could go and change your stats to your quest log and then compare just by sitting here and attacking it and seeing your damage numbers and how much health they go down to actually test DPS. That way, quest log testing is actually possible, and you can basically test the build without needing to swipe for it in game.